Question answered? Okay. Have you made the arrangements?
Yes.
Okay, there you are. So please start. Is there some
Yes.
monitor who do it?
They're sitting all in.
Okay, okay.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
My name is Musa Kirashi. I'm son of Kirashi Abdul Rashid Sir.
I know that, but the microphone is much shorter
Okay.
and you are quite taller in comparison. Huh?
Assalamu alaikum. Hazur.
Uh,
I'd like to make two questions to you, if that's possible.
please.
They are both concerning my career because this is my final year at
Right.
university. And my first question, if I could give a little bit of background to it, I went to
A little bit, yes.
very little bit.
Not more than a little bit, please. No.
I went to the Foreign Office on Thursday and for an open day, and there we had a chance to ask the head of the diplomatic service questions about a career there.
About your career?
About working for the diplomatic service.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him that diplomats have a reputation for dishonesty, that if your government is doing something secretly and a journalist asks you, you have to tell him a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him for his comment on that, and I'd like to know from you as well, because even if you're working for a Muslim government in this area, I'm sure they must tell lies at times, and I was wondering whether that...
You see, to tell lies is forbidden in all circumstances, unless driven to it by coercion, which is beyond your level of tolerance. This is the Quranic principle which covers those who are coerced to deny their faith, which is truth, because the level of persecution has risen beyond their tolerance level. The Holy Quran says in that case Allah will forgive, although Allah expects higher things from His servants, but in this case they will be forgiven. So that is the overall riding principle. That should suffice in answer to this question. Okay?
Okay. And my second question is that...
But one thing should be remembered: if the level of a person's truth is already mixed, and occasionally for his own sake he does indulge in this sort of thing, then these people can be absorbed. But I'm talking purely from Islamic point of view. Deception is not altogether forbidden. Deception in the sense that you use strategy to create an impression which you create without telling a lie. And in wars and also in Cold Wars, such situations do develop where one has to use his superior intelligence to mislead someone without telling a lie. That is not forbidden, but it is only used in case of confrontations and wars, and only for the national interest. This is why Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-harbu khudatun." During wars, strategy has to be employed. It's permissible. Now, an example to illustrate the point further can be quoted from the life of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Once he was traveling with a troop of Muslims to counter-attack an enemy which was preparing to surprise Islam, the world of the Muslims. Ahmad sallallahu alaihi wasallam decided to give a surprise to that enemy. So he was moving in the direction of that enemy's camp, or whatever the place was, incognito, without anybody knowing that he was moving with if not full army, but with troops. And there on the way, he met an Arab who belonged to a tribe, who was friendly to the people whom he wanted to surprise. So he immediately understood that the word will carry, and before they reach, this man is going to tell that tribe, or I don't remember it was a tribe or some other government's borders, but they were friendly to each other. So he rightly suspected, that this information will be leaked. And Rasulullah ﷺ could not tell lies. So you know what he did? He inquired from him the way to a place where he was not going. Just that. So, this is Khuda. This is the maximum which is permitted by Islam. And what a beautiful way to mislead without telling a lie. So if you are an expert at such things, you can safely join diplomatic service. You see? Not a word of lie was spoken. He just inquired from him, how can we reach that place? And he answered and went away. And he must have informed the people that he is going in that direction. Right? Thank you. Second question.
The second question is that I am advised by a lot of people to avoid certain careers because of racism. For instance, becoming a barrister or...
Come closer to the microphone again. Please.
I've been advised by certain people against certain careers because of racism. For instance,
Right.
if you want to become a barrister.
Yes.
And I wanted to know your view on...
I don't think so. I don't agree with them. I think in certain professions, the greater presence of Ahmadis is needed very much. And in the profession of law, in representation. So I advise both Ahmadi boys and girls to go in the area of law, which has immense possibilities of progress and rise without being employed by anybody. Both worldly wise, it is full of great possibilities, this profession. If you are capable, if you are logical, if you are balanced, and this what I expect of all Ahmadis, better than others, because if you are honest, you have to be logical. Honesty and logic and balance, they go together. So in that sense, I expect right, and I hope rightly so, that Ahmadis can excel in the legal profession. Moreover, they are more enlightened than the rest of the society of their type, because their information, those students who are co-students with them in university or anywhere, their approach of learning and thought is narrow, in one narrow direction. But Ahmadi's horizon is broadened in so many directions through his religious pursuits, through his answers to many questions against Islam, against Ahmadiyya, asked from various different angles. So the Ahmadi continues to broaden his horizon much faster than others do. As such, in law, Ahmadis must be a success, and a great success for that matter, I expect. So don't listen to such nonsense that they have prejudices, this and that. In law, the prejudices are destroyed by the capability of the lawyer. When they need a good lawyer, they cannot bring into consideration the color of the lawyer. They're compelled to go to the best. Right? Thank you.
Jazakallah.
Next, please.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
My name is Aziz Ahmed Hafiz, and if I could be permitted to ask two questions.
Please continue. And do it fast.
I have a very close Tamil friend, and would like the benefit of Hazur's views regarding the troubles in Sri Lanka between the government and the Tamil people, and what solution Hazur sees to these problems.
You have not specified any problem. You are talking in generalities. I can't answer this question as such.
The Tamil people being persecuted by the government,
Who?
the Tamil people of Sri Lanka,
Uh-huh.
and by the government of Sri Lanka.
Right.
There's the two ethnic mixes there,
Right.
and I wonder what Hazur's.
But that is
opinions-
only one-sided. That is why I said I can't answer this question in generalities, because the story is only one-sided. Why are they persecuted? Have they not committed grave crimes against humanity and all human decency in trying to win themselves the freedom of a territory which they think that belongs to them? But what are their rights? Why they are demanding this? Under what principle? They are the immigrants from South India into Sri Lanka. And because they were permitted in those days in large numbers, now they are claiming the right to have the whole country carved into two divisions. In principle, is it right or not? This is the first question. And if the government suppresses their movement and they go to Israel for training in extreme atrocities in the name of a freedom fight and kill and murder mercilessly and commit suicides themselves to escape the possibility of detection as to who is behind them, then how can you expect the government of Sri Lanka to sit quietly over it and not to take notice of this? Atrocities, when they reach a certain level, have to be met with counter atrocities.
Would that wouldn't obviously justify atrocities on the civilian population? Would that?
I'm not going to answer this further. I have already told you that we don't know much about the whole situation. We are not in a position to decide. I'm just explaining things to you by way of possibilities. To what manner the government has exceeded her limits, and to what manner the Tamils have earned the wrath of the government to be justified, we don't know. Thank you.
Can I ask my second question? Recently, there was a case in the United Kingdom where a lady requested to be allowed to use her dead husband's sperm to fertilize an egg to conceive a child.
What that is about?
That her dead husband's sperms can be used for conceiving.
I have also heard of that. So,
There was ranging views on this.
you
I
see,
wonder,
the death of a husband automatically dissolves the marriage. Because if it were not so, then the lady could not be permitted by law to marry again. So potentially, if she is available for another marriage, her marriage with the previous husband is dissolved. So if she must go to the dead for seeking a child's birth, then she could go to any grave. You see? The question of husband and wife finishes with death.
Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Hazur.
Walaikum Assalam, Mr. Mauritian.
My name is Shahid Manu, and I always had this question which says that Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam used to talk to animals, and what was the reason that he was given this favor?
You see, you are taking too literally the description of the reign of Hazrat Sulaiman, which is done in parables. If you take it literally, then the whole image of that age will be completely distorted out of shape. And he would not be in line with the other prophets of God. While the Holy Quran repeatedly reminds us that all prophets of God have followed the same sunnah. You see? So those references which you have, that reference which you have made has been misunderstood and misinterpreted by people who have taken this thing too literally. Right? Moreover, they fail to notice that it is not just Hazrat Suleiman who talks to the animals. Animals also speak back to him. So the animals have given such faculties as have not been given to any humans except Hazrat Suleiman. So they become superior in their intelligence and their ability to converse with humans, while the humans cannot. Got it? Right. You see, when the bird, so-called bird, Hudhud, went to the court of Saba, he listened to the talk and understood. Why I am pointing out at that is that somebody may mislead you by suggesting that because Hazrat Suleiman understood the language of the animals, so the animals spoke their own language, and they didn't have to learn the language which humans speak. But what in the case of that bird, who went to the court of Saba and understood every word which was said between them, among them. That means he was another Solomon who understood the language of humans and others. This is impossible. It will turn the whole system of humans and animals and philosophy behind their differences into topsy-turvy. Right? Please.
Alaikum, sir.
Pakistan, where have you been all these years?
Just busy with my studies.
Huh?
Busy with my studies.
Very busy.
I'm at namaz every day, though. Hazur,
Please.
I'm in contact with some Iraqi Shias, and also I'm interested in Shiism due to my visit to
Why are
Iran.
you not in contact with Iraqi Sunnis?
Because there's very few of them in UK.
Huh?
Yeah,
And Shias are plenty.
yeah, in plenty. Yeah.
Because they have been offered special asylum here because they are sympathetic to the Shia cause in Iraq, but not in Iran.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My question is that, am I correct in saying that the 12 Shia Aimma were Masoom, meaning infallible?
You are not entitled to declare anybody Masoom. Not to speak of Shia Imma. How can you declare anybody Masoom? You're not God Almighty, are you?
I hope God
You
forbid.
don't know anything beyond your nose. And not even your nose fully. How can you declare anybody who is dead about whom there is no proof from the Holy Quran that such a person is Masoom? The Holy Quran does not declare the Aimma of the Shias to be prophets of Allah. As such, they are beyond the category which has been covered by the Ismat. Ismat means the meaning to be Masoom. So how can you say? Why are you intent upon that?
It's just that I've been listening to a few question and answer sessions that you had in Germany, and you were saying that they were Masoom. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, not that. What I said was that I believe that they were pious people. Not Masoom in the sense of the term. It is wrong. If I said that, I was wrong. Because to my knowledge, except for the prophets, nobody else's Masumiyat is guaranteed by the Quran, although it is possible that non-prophets are also masoom. I don't rule it out. But it is not guaranteed. So because the Shia Aimma are not prophets of God, so their masumiyat is not guaranteed by Allah. But you cannot say because they are not prophets, they are not certainly not masoom. That is also wrong. So perhaps it is this which I wanted to clarify, and I might have made a mistake for which I apologize. Thank you. Mazda K568 AGB is obstructing the passage of a driveway. Please reach the car before the police reaches there. Please. Assalamu
Azur, at my university, they provide a prayer room for Muslim students to offer their namaz.
Yes.
There's one in each building. And a few times it's happened that I've been reading my namaz on my own and another non-Ahmadi has come in to join me. So together we're in congregation. So with whatever action I do, he's following with me as if it's the Jamaat.
Okay.
So my question is, how does this affect his namaz, him being a
His
non-Ahmadi?
namaz is all right.
And
Right.
at the end of the namaz, do I have to tell him that he was praying behind an Ahmadi Imam?
If you tell him, you run the risk of being beaten. It's entirely up to you. But you do not have to tell him because you never invited him to this. And you are certain that his namaz is all right. So why to take the risk at all? Right?
Assalamu alaikum, Azur.
Yes, Sardar Sahib. What is your question?
So my question is that if there's an MD student, boy or a girl, at university who is acting in an inappropriate manner, how should we admonish them to bring them back to the right path, Sirat al-Mustaqim?
Manage to do what?
How should we admonish them?
Admonish those who do not follow the right path.
Yeah, Ahmadi Muslim boys and girls.
I am the Muslim. First of all, you better quietly address them or write to them that you are behaving in a manner which does not behove you. Better things are expected of you. Particularly those who know you are Ahmadi, they will be misled. They will be led away from Ahmadiyyat because of your conduct. So please take care of yourself. When you have done that and it does not produce any result, then you have a right to write about what you have noticed, about them, what you have noticed, to their parents first. And tell them, give your full address. Tell them, this is what I have discovered, this is what I have been telling them. No response. So I request you to take better care of your children. If that does not work, then go to the administration. And again, keeping quiet, without spreading the word to yourself, without passing it to anybody else. Be careful in not talking loosely of whatever you have found. And then pass it on to the Amir Sahib or better Amir Sahib directly, because the local Sadaran may not be able to guard the secret as securely as the Amir can. So let him take the proper measures, but also you should always pray for such people. Sometimes people forget the importance of the prayer, which is not just a matter of formality. It is a reality. So powerful a reality that it can move mountains. In the sense that great difficulties, impossible journeys, or impossible hurdles can be successfully scaled if a man believes in prayer and seeks Allah's help. So it all depends on your real concern. If you're concerned for a misled child and you feel the pain, and pray in that state of concern, I'm sure that that prayer will be heard and you will begin to see changes. These are all the possible measures you should take in such cases. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Hazur, my question concerns...
And your name?
Kaleem Bhatti.
Yes.
Son
of?
Rafiq Bhatti.
Right.
Is about Iblis and his ingratitude. What I need help in understanding is that how, when God created him, he was a witness to God.
He will be?
He was a witness to Allah. And so how could he dedicate himself to evil or rebel? I can't understand, because he knew that one day he would have to go back to God. And
when you are obliged to someone, you can't conceive him to be ingrate, that is, ungrateful. Is that the logic behind this question?
Yes.
Huh? Have you never been ungrateful to your parents?
yeah, I've been ungrateful, many times. Yeah.
Throughout?
Yeah.
Consistently?
No, maybe that's what they'll say.
You have to make a choice
Yeah.
between gratefulness and a lie. It is wrong to say that children are always grateful to whatever is done by favors by their parents to them. So the question has no logic. But the question should have been asked in a different way. The question is, has God created evil himself? If he has not created evil, then how could Satan become evil of himself? Right? This is right. But the philosophy of good and evil has to be understood before you grasp the whole thing. What is death? Absence of life. And yet Allah says He has created life and death. Death in the negative sense. What is night? The absence of day. But night in itself has no substance. The substance belongs to the light of the sun, which if it does not reach a certain part of the world, it creates the illusion as if a new thing is created, while darkness is not created. It is a negative value. It's an automatic appearance of another pole. So anyone who has created light cannot be held responsible for shadows and darknesses and nights, etc. Because whoever turns his back to the sun or closes his eyes to light, it is the same thing for him, whether it is darkness which envelops him or whether he cannot see the light. Practically it is the same thing. So the evil should be understood in this context. Satan, number one, is not that sort of person which you visualize. It could have been, but according to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the real significant Satan is the one which runs in your blood and which runs in the blood of every human being. But it is not one single person who does it. Everybody has his own Satan. What does it mean? Propensity to do evil. And that is in every human. when Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam enlightened his companions to this fantastic thing, which had never been described in religious history like this. One of the listeners to this discourse inquired from him, Ya Rasulullah, do you also have a Satan running in your blood? He said, yes, I'm a human, of course I have. But that Satan has become a Muslim. It is the most fantastic statement, full of such wisdom, that for the Satan to be permanently wrong is not a decree of God. Every human Satan can turn into Muslims. And many a Satan in the time of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah Sallam, following him also turned into Muslims. So it's not a permanent quality created by God of evil, which cannot turn into goodness. It is, in nutshell, the propensity to turn one's back to goodness. And there, the consequences of one's turning his back to the goodness are not the responsibility of the Creator. Right? Thank you.
Okay, Jazakallah.
कोई लंबा आदमी आ रहा है जो आप बड़ा ज़बरदस्त इसको एडजस्ट कर रहे हैं दोबारा. वालेकुम.
मेरा नाम मुबशर अहमद प्राचा है, मैं सादत अहमद प्राचा.
You please come closer to the microphone, yes?
My name is Mubashir Ahmed Pracha and I'm Sadat Ahmed Pracha.
The right side.
This one?
Yes. You can hear it yourself. Now, what is it, Mubashir, you want to ask?
Yes. My question is relating to Tabligh.
Right.
And it's an area where I feel very weak, actually, coming from the Geneva Jamaat also. Basically, as I see the way Islam, Ahmadiyyat is growing, how fast it is growing, I start to feel lagging behind in that area. I'd like to have a simple question on that is, from the little tabligh I've been doing, I've noticed that certain people really do not listen at all, and actually there is a negative impact on them, and that it only reinforces their hatred towards Ahmadiyyat. And while there are other people that I talk to, they listen, they have a good time listening, but then they disregard it right after listening. So my question is, what type of people should I target, or should we target in Tabligh, and what type of people should we avoid?
This is a question which has already been answered by the Quran in principle. The Holy Quran, when speaking on the subject of Dawat il-Allah, that's invitation to the path of Allah, towards Allah, it begins with Udu ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati. Call to the path of Allah with wisdom. In all other places, instead of wisdom, taqwa and logic and things like that are mentioned. But in the case of preaching to others, the top priority is given to wisdom. So apply your mind. And in every case, the answer could be different as to how to apply your mind. If I tell you to go upstairs, if you apply your mind, you will be in the search of staircases. You will not start jumping to try to reach the first floor. So the answer to this question may vary in accordance with the situations. So apply your mind to yourself. How could you be made interested in anything other than Islam and Ahmadiyyat? Why and how? Only if you find powerful signs in the truth of a person who is higher in the order of his rating in the sense of his being nearer to God. Only such a thing could impress you. And you may start exploring the reasons why. Otherwise, you will not be interested. So, first of all, you should improve the quality of your bearing and your own conduct to a degree where those who are around you notice that here is a small island of a human who is one of us yet so different. And it is that difference which impresses people. All the new converts, when I investigate from them, the reasons how they were initially made interested, practically told me the same story. They said, we became interested in the conduct of some friend of ours who was so different. And in the same atmosphere of our schools or college or offices, his manner was upright, he never told lies, he behaved perfectly gentlemanly to others, without prejudices, without anything. He was service-minded. Now, not all these things, but many of such qualities which some Ahmadi possessed impressed the people. And they became interested in finding out more about it. Many non-Ahmadis come to me, Christians and others as well, Jews as well. When I inquire, why have you come? Who introduced me to you? He said, it all began with our fellow student or co-worker. And we were amazed at the qualities. We wanted to find more about the force, the strength, the source of that strength behind the qualities of such a person. So produce that in you. And the greater is the strength of your personality, the more successful you will become in the field of preaching to others. But that is just one answer. That is the beginning. After that, you must measure the person you are dealing with correctly to learn which things will impress him, which things he is interested in, which impress him. Moreover, you have to inquire whether he knows anything of his own religion or not. If you start arguing with a person who does not know anything of his religion, who trusts his ulama, and they become the custodians of his faith, which normally happens, then no matter how you argue with him, he will not be convinced. Because he'll always have a suspicion in his mind, lurking somewhere, that he's talking of the Quran all right, but maybe he's wrong. We don't know the translation. He's talking of the Hadith all right, but we do not know the context. So they listen, they are rendered without an answer, nonplussed, because their own personal knowledge is not enough. But that does not mean that they will be converted. They will convert only if they are truly, deeply convinced. And that does not happen in the case of ignorant people. They can't be convinced unless they hear from their own sources. So most of the ignorant people can convert to Ahmadiyyat if their leaders convert. And they sometimes write to me that we convert our leader first, then we may follow, not otherwise. And this is what is written to me almost daily by Ahmadi missionaries everywhere in the world. Pray that that person becomes an Ahmadi. Because if he becomes, then they will follow. So things differ, vary from place to place, from country to country. And you have to be wary of the fact that the Holy Quran mentions wisdom first and all other things after. So it's a battle of wits. It's a fight of superior wisdom. And if you have that and apply it appropriately, then I can assure you the results provided you also pray to God. That is one area where many times Ahmadi preachers are deficient. They think they have put in all their efforts, they have the command over logic, they have done this and that should be sufficient. Without prayer, mountains cannot be moved, hurdles cannot be removed. That is why it is only Hazrat Masih Maud Islam, in the entire history of 1300 years before him, who said that the real reason why the Arabs became Muslims within the lifetime of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah was because of his prayers, not arguments. It's a fantastic statement, and so true. So the prayers are the most powerful motivating factors and transforming factors. So stick to the prayers and then follow the course as I've advised with wisdom, then inshallah you'll turn into a fruitful tree. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakum.
Next please.
Alaikum Hazur. Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you, Bhatti Sahib? Today is the day of the Bhattis.
No, Shah.
You know, they
Sure.
have outnumbered all other questioners.
The Shah. Shah. No, Bhatti. Shah.
Your mother is Bhatti,
No, she's.
or father is Bhatti.
No, Shah.
No? So why do I relate you to Bhattis? You must have some relationship.
Yeah, my Dadi Jan.
Is Bhatti.
Yeah, she's been.
And she has the strongest personality in the family.
That's right.
Huh? That is why. No fault of mine. Okay. Mr. Shah, Mr. Bhatti like Shah, come out with your question, please.
Okay. The question I'd like to ask is music allowed to be listened to? What type of music
Tell
can...
me, have you never heard music? Have you ever never listened to music?
Yeah, I have.
Huh? Right from your childhood?
No, well, yeah.
It's rather too late to ask this question. You see, these small, minor things, if they are brought up for discussion in such serious or semi-serious meetings, they will turn it into gloomily serious, because the answers may put you off and make life very difficult to live with. And this is the advice of the Holy Quran. Look at the perfection of the book. Fantastic. Unbelievable. The Holy Quran says, La tasalu an ashya in tubdalakum tasukum. Don't have the habit of asking too many questions. Some of those, when answered, will create difficulties for you. If the Quran says that, how can I act otherwise? Okay? Thank you. But don't be given up to music. This is my advice. This is wrong. This can lead into shirk. That's a different story altogether. You know, to have, to listen to music occasionally, like all humans do. I have done it. I have confessed it in the book written by Ian Adamson. I said, yes, I used to, when I was a student here, I used to listen to music. And this astounded many Ahmadis, particularly from India, from an area where they were very rigid. And when I visited Qadian, they came, did you listen to music? I said, yes. This humble, sinful servant is before you. I did. And he was so shocked. He repeatedly asked me. I say, I did, but I believe you also have been listening to music. And that is so. Recently, someone wrote to me a question from Pakistan, that you are talking of MTA, it is this, that did this, it has done this, it has done that. But don't you know the damage you are doing to the Ahmadi morals by permitting Ahmadi girls to sing on MTA? And the Ahmadis listen to the girls' voices. So I wrote back to him, I said, look here, honest to God, tell me, if you have never heard film songs sung by wayward women whose chastity cannot be guaranteed, the songs which are in fact immoral, and you have heard them sung with music. All your life you have been doing it. In all Ahmadi houses, there is not a single person who has never heard to such music. Many do it regularly and they don't mind it. They put the Pakistan television on and sing and see the girls singing such songs. This is the reality. You want to turn me into a hypocrite? While what MTA is doing is, with all the possible cares and measures to protect the morals of the people who listen to these songs. Because the subject of the songs is so wonderful. Hamdo sana usi ko, jo zaat javedani. Hum sar nahi hai uska, koi na koi sana. I said it would require a very corrupt man to turn his thoughts into the sexual pursuit by hearing this song Hamdo sana usi ko, jo zaat javedani. If an Ahmadi woman or man, boy or girl, listen to La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, you know that most wonderful song. है दर्द दिल की दुआ ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, करीब था कि मैं गिर जाऊं बारिशियां से, बना है लेक आसा ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह. Can any man believe by the remotest possibility of his fancy that a man listening to this song, because it is sung by a girl, would be misled into bad deeds? You should apply your common sense. Singing cannot be altogether banned. Not even singing by women and listening of men to the women's song voice. It depends on the intentions, it depends on the style of singing, it depends on the contents of the singing. Hazrat Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he entered Medina, all the historians agreed that young Ahmadi, Muslim girls, of course there were Ahmadis as well, because the second name of Muhammad Rasulullah is Ahmad. So the young Muslim girls were singing with the help of the elementary form of music which they had access to. But it was music all right. Songs welcoming Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah Sallam to Medina. And he listened to the songs and he never objected. So to hear a girl's voice is in itself not forbidden. You daily hear girls' voices, you daily hear songs sung by impious girls as well, actresses and so on and so forth. And if they don't hurt you, how can the MTA songs, which are dedicated to the cause of Islam and the cause of truth, begin to, to create waves of sinfulness in your hearts? If that is your state, then you are beyond repair. I can't do anything more to do anything about you. Got it? So this is the answer in general. But still I insist and remind you not to ask too many questions, please. Thank you. Walaikum Salam. How are you?
I'm fine.
Fine?
Yes, I.
You are the nephew of 11 rupee sandal.
Sorry?
You're the nephew of that uncle
Yeah.
who bought an 11
Yeah,
rupee sandal.
That's right.
Right?
That's one.
Shall I tell them the story of that sandal?
It's up to you, actually.
Huh?
Yeah, it's up to you.
You don't mind?
He might, though.
He may mind.
He might mind.
Okay, though.
One of the topics that was raised today was on the Western pub culture. All right, the pub culture is one of the major part of university life a student comes across in terms of socializing with other students. Even though Ahmadis are not allowed to drink alcohol, are we still allowed to accompany our friends to the university bar or pub to socialize so that we may have a positive influence over them?
If the result of this mixing is in your favor, not against you, then there is no harm. Right?
So
But if in the excuse of mixing and creating a good impression upon them, you become the recipient of impressions, then it is wrong. Occasionally, when I was a student in the university, I also did it. I once attended a party given by the school in which students were expected to participate. And among other things, they also danced there, they drank, but I didn't touch anything, I never danced. And told them that I don't approve of it, it's wrong in principle. So some of the boys were influenced by me. And they left alcohol, left dancing, and make a circle around me. Because they thought there was some weight in what I was saying. So if you have that winning character with the grace of Allah, if you are certain that you will not be unduly influenced by the evil, then this is the task of a believer, to transform things around him. Okay?
Was another question.
But the time is already over.
All right. So,
I see my Urdu class children moving around here and there.
okay.
Oh, look, somebody is watching from there. Eh?
Right. So I'll avoid
Their
this.
time has started.
Right.
Your time is over.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jazakumullah.
Jazakumullah. You have given them too small a time. You should have started it earlier, by 6 o'clock or thereabout. Eh? Next time, inshallah, this is our first experience of getting together as Ahmadi students, university students. And I would love the Sadr Sahib to promote this meeting in future. Whenever I visit other countries, I always have such sessions with Ahmadi students of different ages. And I have found this very productive with the grace of Allah. So this is our first experiment. I hope it is successful, and inshallah, in future I'll be available. Right? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.